Hi, friends. Welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host, Greg. And here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned.
Let me know when you're ready. Or your intro. You rip it.
I rip it.
Rip up.
Rip down.
Greg.
To the Anime Book Club podcast. My name is Greg Young Big Jesus. And I am here with my friend, my co-host, my son.
I don't know about that.
This is where you say your name.
No, but I'm not your son.
This is where you say your name.
I'm older than you. Hi, I'm DJ Montague. Welcome, everybody.
And today we are going to talk about Ranma 1/2 / Ranma half. However you want to pronounce it. I actually did see an anime thread about how do you actually pronounce Ranma. And yeah, it was pretty mixed. Some people say 1/2, some people say half. Other people were like, I take the Japanese title of it, which is Ranma Hanbun. But all of them are correct, and we're all talking about the same thing. So here in today's episode, father and son are going to talk about episodes 11 and episodes 12, the finale of Ranma half season 1. And they've already been greenlit for season 2. So we have that to look forward to.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. I think we could go high level real quick. Usually we do a little high level before we get into the spoiler portion of the episode. But I enjoyed Ranma quite a bit. I thought it was fun. And that's exactly what it's supposed to be. Like, it's not trying to do anything that's groundbreaking storyline wise. It's just trying to make you laugh and put a smile on your face and tug at the heartstrings a little bit here and there, but it's just a fun show to watch. And I think they nailed it. I think it was cool.
Yeah, I second that. I think it's great. We said it in the other episodes before. I think they just did a really good job updating the older animation to modern standards.
Yeah.
I want to say all of them. All of the voice actors that were in this Ranma are the original voice actors of the original Ranma, which I thought was pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think they did really good job. It just super clean, no inconsistencies in the animation or the production, because you can look at Failure Frame, Uzumaki, Ragnar Crimson,
Blue Lock.
Yeah, you can see the differences in animation with Blue Lock between seasons, but with those other ones during the season, there's just an extreme shift in what the animation is like.
Yeah.
But with Ranma, it has stayed consistent throughout, which I appreciate.
Yeah. In 2024, going into 2025, that's a big deal right now. We've gone through Jujutsu Kaisen having the opposite, where the production and everything is ramped up while at the detriment of the people working for MAPPA, where this also is produced by MAPPA, and you have just a clean, consistent, non-drama filled, seems like, TV show. When you have production on Blue Lock having such issues, when you have production on Uzumaki having issues, when you have production on literally another show produced in your company having issues with Jujutsu Kaisen, like I said, it's a breath of fresh air to know that the people that are developing and producing, writing and drawing and everything that goes into creation of the show aren't being destroyed by the company to create this art. It's nice. It's nice to hear that humanity has a good little thumbs up for once, Yeah,
and when I was at Youmacon last year, technically it's last year, 2024, there was a panel about getting into animation, or you want to be an animator. The gentleman that was conducting the panel
Mhm.
He says that in the industry now, they're using a lot of contract work. So I
Mhm.
think that's one of the reasons why there's such a fluctuation in animation now is because they'll get contractors, they give them a set of frames and are like, here, you need to fix the animation on this, or you
Mhm.
need to do your part. Because he broke down during the animation process, like all of the different phases that it has to go through. I wasn't taking notes, so I can't regurgitate exactly what he said. He
Mhm.
said it way more eloquently than I'm saying it right now.
That checks out.
But he was saying that, yeah, there's a lot of contract work and a lot of overseas work too. When before in the past, like Japan kind of kept the animation closed off and a little more like close to chest. But now he was saying that because the amount of anime that's coming out and being produced, it's not sustainable for it to just be held inside of Japan. So that's why they're using a lot more outside work. And he was saying that a lot of studios now are kind of just creating things like one season, one shots, and like seeing what actually sticks.
It seems interesting that you would have that side of it. The one shot side of it is very like it's not something you see really unless it's like a big production company like Netflix. You know what I mean? It's not usually meant to be a one shot. They're picking up a show and they're like, well, we'll just throw it at these streaming stuff and see what happens. That's literally what's been happening in at least American production. And it just gets canceled. Or they silently cancel it, don't pick it up. Who cares? You know, we
Yeah.
tried type
Yeah.
of thing.
If the metric doesn't hit, then they're just like on to the next. And, you know, I
Yeah.
think as consumers of the art, I guess we just can't forget that even though we kind of fall in love with these series and these characters, it's basically about money at the end of the day because they are companies, right? Like they need to make money, they need to pay the artists, probably pay them more than they're paying them now, but you still need like the company to run because if Mappa's not making money, we're not getting any JJKs or any Ranmas or any Zen shoes or anything like that.
Oh, Zenshu was made by Mappa as well.
I believe so.
Okay, cool. Spoiler alert, we're going to watch Zenshu. If you're just listening to this episode, getting into our 2025 season, we'll be doing another episode on that. We're testing out our own one shot of sorts of splitting up our season finale into 4 different episodes. So you can kind of listen to and enjoy more expanded thoughts on the shows that we watched all together. So hopefully you like this one shot and we don't get canceled for this.
We gotta make money or we're gonna get canceled.
Yeah, or we're all dead. We're literally starving to death. Please help us. We're not. We're fine. Okay, anyway. Spoiler time. Ranma is in a tough situation. Who would have thought?
He is. And to backtrack a little bit, Shampoo's hanging out at the Tendo Dojo.
Yeah.
Shampoo has the kiss of death on girl Ranma,
Yeah.
but Ryoga, in his infinite wisdom, is like, let me help you out, Ranma. Tries to change him into a girl. And now we get Shampoo kiss of loving male Ranma, which is the opposite of the kiss of death. It's the kiss of you will now marry me and we're together forever.
Yeah. Ranma defeated her in combat. And then she gives him the big smooch. Ranma seems to enjoy it quite a bit. And then Akane's like, nah, dog, give me those weapons you used, Shampoo, to literally knock the absolute shit out of Ranma with the maces that she had. And you get the beginning of a little bit more drama. You have the skaters, you've got Ryoga, you've got
Kodachi.
Here's our new drama.
Yeah, we have the new rivalry. It is born.
Yeah. So they're trying to figure out what the hell happened. It cuts to all of the people sitting down without Shampoo being there. And they're trying to figure out why Shampoo actually kissed Ranma. So she gives the book to everybody. And Akane's dad is like, give me that shit. I'm going to read this right now and figure out the fuck is going on. And he just starts reading it and crying. And everyone's like, dude, what does it say? And then he looks at Ranma and he's like, dude, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, you fucked up. And they're like, what does it say, bro? And he's like, I don't know. I can't read Chinese.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
And Katsumi tries to explain the situation to him and says that
Yeah.
Shampoo is Ranma's girlfriend from China coming back to claim him. Ranma is just like, don't get it twisted. But then Shampoo is just clinging to him. And everyone's like, really, Ranma? Really? Akane tells Ranma that their engagement is off and stomps away. And then Tendo says, Ranma has some explaining to do, boy. And then that's what you were saying when Shampoo then whips out the Chinese Amazon Sutra. And Tendo looks through it. And then Ranma asks, what did he find? And he's like, I can't read Chinese, bitch. I don't even know what I'm looking at. But good thing we got Nabiki.
Nabiki comes in the clutch. She's like, by the way, there's excerpts that are translated into Japanese. And he's like, I didn't see that shit. I wasn't paying attention.
Literally on the opposite page, it's translated in Japanese.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. As an old ass dude, like you have what I know as a sutra, which is the Kama Sutra. What is a sutra? Did I miss something?
No, I don't think so. A sutra, I believe, is like some sort of scripture. And I believe it's just kind of like a philosophy of some sort. So like the Kama Sutra, I assume, is the philosophy of doing adult things. While the Chinese Amazon Sutra is the book on how kisses work. Nabiki reads the sutra. She says, if the Chinese Amazon S's are defeated by a woman, then they give them the kiss of death. And if they are defeated by a man, then when they kiss them, that means that she has to get married to them. So
our boy Ranma is in for some trubs.
Yes. Or he could just pull, who was the skater guy from
Tony Hawk?
Yeah, Mikado. Mikado. He could just pull a Mikado and then love all women equally.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
God damn it, me.
Akane is now outside and she's beating up a training dummy, yelling that Ranma is dumb and that the engagement was something that the parents set up and they didn't really like each other anyway. But then she has a little flashback to Ranma defending her and saying that she was his fiancée during the whole skating arc. She picks up the dummy she beat up and then brushes it off as if it was a fake Ranma, that she is like, you know what? Maybe
sorry for beating your ass.
Yeah.
My bad about that. Let me help a little bit. And then we turn a corner. We all turn a corner. And we see a moment where Ranma and Shampoo are sitting on what looks like probably a mailbox. Is that a mailbox? It looks like a small house in front of a house. So I'm gonna assume a mailbox.
Okay.
It's a home for your mail. Okay, anyways. So he's standing on this thing. Shampoo is like trying to get all up into his grill. And he's like, dude, like, you gotta cool it, lady. Like, I've got some other stuff going on, and you're just like in my shit. And she's like, dude, but hey, smooches? And he's like, look, I mean, you're really hot, and this is kind of cool, but I don't know if I'm down for this. Like, this is strange now.
He's trying to tell her that the rules in the book are old and outdated, and they don't matter anymore.
Right. And Akane is watching all this go down, and she's like, this is kind of good, but you're kind of making a fool out of yourself. And he's like, yo, you got to take it slow, though. You know, like, you can't just like jump the gun. And you get the feeling that Ranma kind of likes Shampoo a little bit.
I felt that too, but it could just be, you know, he is just a young man. His entire life, he's been focused on the martial arts, and he's never really learned how to deal with relationship situations.
I mean, we've known that, by the way, that he treats Akane. It's not like he treats her super well. Oh, it's a birdhouse, by the way. It's a birdhouse that he's standing on. I figured it. Yeah, not a house for mail.
Yeah,
sorry.
A bird box, yep. So Kasumi and Nabiki tell her to go make up with Ranma. And as Ranma's talking to Shampoo about ditching these old rules, she doesn't really understand Japanese. And she just jumps into Ranma's arms and says stuff in Chinese. And Nabiki translates it to, my husband, I love you, Ranma.
Mm-hmm.
And Ranma is all flustered. And then, that's when Akane just rips the dummy in half and is just tearing out its straw innards. And then Panda Genma bats Ranma into outer space because he's being an idiot.
He coming in the clutch.
Yeah.
Coming in the clutch, really helping the situation quite a bit. I'm sad we didn't get more Panda throughout the episodes. In the last 2 episodes, he really comes in.
Yes. He
with a lot of
definitely
heat.
more cameos in these last couple episodes.
It was real good.
But Ranma's hanging out on the rooftop thinking about what's going on. And he thinks that Shampoo isn't that bad. She's pretty cute.
She's kind of hot.
And then thought he wished that Akane was that forward with him as Shampoo is.
Yeah, he's like, dude, that was kind of tight. And
Tell me what to do.
Yeah, Ryoga's like, hey, you fucking moron. Like, you're messing around. You're two-timing here, brother. You got to stop it. And Ryoga, as a man we know, has mild ulterior motives. And they kind of start talking back and forth. And he's like, hey, man, I will fuck your shit up. And then he throws ice cold water on Ranma, turning him into girl Ranma. And so begins the duel of the bucket. As they throw a bucket into each other's face back and forth, talking trash.
Yeah.
Another banger scene. I just like appreciate good sound effects. Like, it's not like it sounds, you know, like overtly silly when a bucket is hitting somebody's head. You know what I mean? It's not like Looney Tunes is. It's like they grabbed a bucket and threw it against something and it makes that sound, and that makes me happy.
And not like a Home Depot bucket, but like an actual bucket.
Not like a PVC bucket. Yeah, it's a great experience for me as an audio person.
After the bucket throwing battle, Ranma throws Ryoga into the pond, and now he Pichons. He turns into Pichon. Ranma grabs Pichon and says Akane is just making herself jealous. And then Akane is behind him. And then she says it doesn't bother her, and then slaps him and says to go get to know Shampoo better, and then grabs Pichon and leaves.
Yep.
Ranma tries to go after Akane, but since he's in girl form, Shampoo comes out and tries to attack him. Akane is in her room now, lifting weights to let off steam, as one does. And Pichon is just sitting there sad, because he can tell that Akane obviously isn't happy. The next morning, Akane can't find Pichon. And then Kasumi asks her to go get Ranma out of bed. And she says, why should she? And then Tendo-san gets stern and tells her that she should be more honest with her feelings. And then she gives him the death stare. And then he just goes into the corner and starts crying.
He starts crying.
He says that
I'm
she's
scared.
way too scary. And then he just cries in the corner. But Akane complies. She goes up to get Ranma. And when she opens the door, Shampoo is sleeping in the futon with Ranma, sleep talking, saying, my husband.
Yeah.
Akane then throws water on Ranma and lets Shampoo try to kill him. But then after that, Akane and Ranma are running to school, and he said that Shampoo snuck into his room, but Akane's not having any of it, and Ranma says she doesn't listen, and that she sleeps with Pichon, and then she says Ranma is jealous of a pig, and then Ranma says no one would be jealous over her, and then runs away. So back to regular Ranma Akane bickering, even though they both secretly are jealous of what's going on.
Smash cut to our boy Ryoga having the best internal monologue with him and his angel on his shoulder and devil on his shoulder. Oh man, those two are fucking adorable.
Ryoga's sitting on the rooftop watching Ranma and Akane, and he plans to leave without saying goodbye, and says that to Akane he can only be Pichon. He can't be anything else.
Yeah, it's so tough out here in the streets.
Yeah. But then we have the angel and the devil on his shoulder moment, and the devil is saying, Akane's heart is broken, so scoop that shit up. And then the angel says, let Shampoo kill Ranma instead, and then scoop up Akane. And the devil says, man, angel, you're worse than me.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up, bro.
But Ryoga doesn't do either. He decides to run away. And then as he starts to make his way out into the sunset, the same old lady that just washes the street just splashes him with water. And then now he's Pichon again and drops all of his baggage. And then Shampoo rolls up and it's like, ooh, look at this young Peachon.
Look at this adorable little pig. And we
Yes.
get the most terrifying moment of this show. It goes to school. Ranma and Akane at lunch, and you see the bulge in the wall like the fucking Kool-Aid man is coming through yet again, and Shampoo then explodes through the wall. Two dudes staring through the wall as well, like, what did we just watch? And she comes up to Ranma with a giant plate of food.
Yeah, as you know, a nice young lady would make her husband.
As a
Lunch.
waifu would do, Greg?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say? A waifu?
Well, they're not married yet. So it's just a nice young lady trying to help her hungry man who's at school.
Wow, Greg. Anyways, and we see the steam coming off of the meal.
Looks tasty.
As he opens the top, and it does look tasty. It looks like a sick-ass bento box. And speaking of, I watched this, and then I went and got a bento. For lunch.
Was it a pork bento?
No, it wasn't. It was salmon and gyoza bento. Anyways, so we see a completely cooked Ryoga Peachon in just like totally dead with the scarf on him and everything, and a terrifying moment that I thought Shampoo had done killed our boy.
I did too. I saw he had the little X's over his eyes.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. He's gone.
But Ranma smacks him. He's like, wake up, bitch. And then Peachon awakes, and then he just bites Ranma and then jumps into Akane's arms.
Yeah.
Shampoo then goes to Akane and gives her the kiss of death. And Akane welcomes the challenge. She's like, good, kiss that shit, bitch. Let's go outside.
Let's go buy the bike racks, motherfucker. Meet me outside. How about that?
Ranma's a little worried. He's like, you can't beat Shampoo. She's super strong.
Yeah, and you're too slow.
Yeah.
You're way too slow.
And then Akane is like, oh yeah? And then she throws Ranma out the window. And then he gets sandwiched between a desk and a soccer ball.
Yeah, he keeps trying to jump back into the window, and she keeps throwing more shit at him. And then somebody else kicks a soccer ball into the back of his head. He jumps back in the window, asks where the hell Akane is. And all the classroom is like, dude, she ain't here. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And so he leaps out of the window and runs to try and find Akane and Shampoo. We have a moment where you see Shampoo attacking Akane and hitting her in the chest with her giant mace. Akane being defeated, flying backwards into nothingness. A complete despair for our heroine.
And then Ranma eventually hears the cries of Peachon. And then he gets to the soccer field where Akane and Shampoo were having their face-off. But by the time that Ranma gets there, Shampoo is gone. And Akane is unconscious on the field. But then she comes to. And when Ranma asks her if she's okay, she asks, who are you? So we have the good old amnesia trope coming in here. I initially thought she was faking it to try to pull a fast one on Ranma to see if he actually does care about her.
I kind of thought the same, but it also kind of validated, like later in the next episode as well, that thought process until the very end of the episode, obviously.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were faking it just to like fuck with Ranma just a little bit. Because as we begin the next episode, we see that she remembers everybody else.
She remembers the fight. She remembers fighting Shampoo. She remembers all the school kids that run out and greet her.
She remembers she feels great. She feels lightheaded and wonderful, and like she just got her hair did.
Yep. Yeah, just like as one would feel after a nice day at the spa. And she is just like, Ranma, who is this guy? Why does he stand so close? What the hell's wrong with him? And then all the other students fill her in, and they're like, hey, Akane, you're engaged to this guy.
To this guy specifically.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
And she tries to remember the name Ranma. And she really tries her earnest. And she's like, Ranma, that's that woodworking top of the part of the wall that lets ventilation and air in. And Ron was like, no, fuck, that's not me. And then she said, wait, that's the Latin dance. And Ron was like, no, that's the rumba. Like, fuck, what's wrong with you? But then Ranma takes Pichan and says they're going to have a chat. And he takes him in the back, splashes him with the water. Ryoga's just sitting there naked. And he asks Ryoga what happened. And Ryoga is just like, nah, bitch. let her forget you. But as they're having this conversation, the other schoolgirls have, I guess, gym class and they're running laps or something. So Ryoga's not being cooperative. Ranma peeks his head out and is like, hey, girls, I got something funny to show you. Check this out.
Wait, hold on. The, hey, I've got something to show you in the shed move, maybe not the best. And every girl is like, yeah, I'm on board. We haven't had any sort of like teaching that this might be a bad idea about some random guy trying to get us in a shed. No, everything's fine here. Oh, dude, I was concerned. We need to help these young ladies.
It's a sign of the times. Since this is an older anime, maybe that was never taught to these young girls.
Maybe that was it, yeah.
But Ryoga then recalls Shampoo and Akane fighting. And as they were fighting, Shampoo basically Goomba stomped him when he was in Pichan form. So he says he actually didn't see anything. They go to get a second opinion, and they go to Dr. Tofu.
Yeah. Oh, man. Instantly knows what's up, by the way.
He's a super smart guy.
Yeah.
And he said that this can only be one thing. It can only be the Demon Fist technique. And I'm sorry for our Chinese listeners, because I'm going to butcher this. Shifa Shangao Shiatsu.
Hold on. I want a shot of it. The Shifa Shangao Shiatsu?
We'll go. That sounds better than mine. So we're going to go with that.
No. We better have these back to back. You better not delete yours. I swear to God, Greg.
No, they're both staying in.
Okay, let's get the Google Translate out here.
Shi Bei Xiang Gao Shiatsu. We'll roll with that. So Genma then rolls into Dr. Tofu's office in panda form, holding up a sign that says Dr. Tofu is correct. And apparently he watched the entire fight between Shampoo and Akane. He starts to write out the story on his little wooden sign. And then Ranma is like, dude, just turn back into human and tell me, what are you doing? But Genma turns back into human form, and he says that it was nothing short of a master's work. And then there's a flashback of Shampoo giving Akane the spa treatment and washing and cutting her hair in record time, 56 seconds as clocked by Genma. Tofu says it's a technique that presses certain shiatsu points on the head to manipulate memories when applying a special blend of shampoo. Ranma takes Akane and runs off to find Shampoo. And then Shampoo walks into Dr. Tofu's office. And Dr. Tofu is like, hey, look, this is my new nurse in training.
Yeah, they figure out what's going on. They immediately leave. Shampoo's like, oh yeah, I got to go to work today. Let me show up literally right afterward. It's like they leave out the back door. She comes in the front door the same instant. Excellent work.
Yes. They get back home. And Nabiki and Kasumi see that Akane really did forget Ranma. And then Tendo asks Akane if she forgot him. And she was like, who are you again? And then he just starts crying. And he's like, she was like, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, Dad. I could never forget you. But good old Tendo, big softy. Shampoo then walks in and hugs her husband, Ranma. And then Akane instinctively fucking elbow drops Ranma.
Yeah, not Shampoo, but immediately goes to beat the shit out of Ranma.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's second nature at this point.
Akane then tries to remember Ranma again. She's like, I got it. Menma. And they're like, no, bitch. Menma's the fermented bamboo on top of ramen. Like, that's not fucking Ranma. Anyway, Shampoo recognizes that Akane is starting to kind of remember Ranma. So she's like, not on my watch. And then she tries the technique again. But Ranma stops her and then steals her shampoo and runs away with Akane. And then after he runs away with Akane, he just starts vigorously shampooing Akane's hair. And then she just literally punches him through the sink and is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Our boy, the smarty pants himself, Dr. Tofu's like, hey, by the way, the way to fix this is by getting the formula 119. I don't know why you were doing 110. That's not the way you fix it.
Yes. In classic Dr. Tofu fashion, he had the recipe book for the 119 blend shampoo needed to restore Akane's memories. Then Kasumi walks in and Dr. Tofu turns into an idiot and then nervously just tears up the book in front of everybody.
Yeah. Oops.
So Ranma's one chance to restore Akane's memories easily was nervously torn up, and then Ranma decides that he is going to pack up and go back to China to buy the 119 formula shampoo so he can restore her memories. And everyone is super excited because that means Ranma can bring back a bunch of souvenirs for everyone once he gets back from China.
Yeah, you going over to China? Dude, I got this whole grocery list of things. You could bring me some stuff, right?
Yeah, hopefully Ranma brings an empty carry-on so he can bring all that stuff back.
Yeah.
But Ranma is thinking, how is he going to get to China without spending any money? Because I assume as a starving martial artist, he doesn't have very much.
Nah.
And he's like, you know what? I'll just get there how I got back, which was just to swim across the ocean.
I'll just swim.
Yeah.
Great idea.
On his way to the ocean, Shampoo then shows up and she is dangling a bottle of Formula 119 in front of Ranma and is tempting him with it. And he runs after her, catches her, and she then takes the bottle and stuffs it down her cleavage and is like, oh yeah, Ranma, grab this. Ranma is like, oh yeah, don't tempt me. I have a woman's body, so grabbing stuff like this is no problem. And then I don't think she thought he was serious, and then she starts screaming as if he's trying to harass her. Ranma then tells her that he will grant her a single wish as long as it isn't to marry her or kill Akane. And then Shampoo, in her infinite wisdom and Ranma's infinite non-wisdom, she says, you need to kill girl Ranma. And Ranma is like, okay.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah, he's
no
like, okay,
problem.
but let's meet in the middle because that's a little extreme. How about I kill her halfway and then we'll call it good? And Shampoo is like, I have no idea what the fuck you just said. But okay, I agree. So Ranma's idea is to go to Ryoga, and he tells Ryoga to beat him up. And Ryoga is like, nah, just give up on Akane. I'm not going to beat you up. And then they both start yelling at each other. And then somehow Ryoga gets beat up instead.
Ranma's like, yeah, let's fucking do this, dude. This is what I've been waiting for. And then they have like a split second. And he's like, dude, what happened? I thought you were supposed to beat me up. You fucking wimp. Like,
after that, Genma and Tendo roll in, and they're like, hey, yo, dude, you need help? Dude, we're going to help you. And then they both just start curb stomping Ranma.
They're like, this is so sweet that you would do this for Akane. Wow, you're such a kind soul.
Yeah.
And just start beating the shit out of him.
But then Akane walks in. And then she's like, what are you guys doing? You're picking on the weak. Ranma's so weak. Don't do that. And then Ranma calls her not cute. And then it triggers something inside of Akane.
Something primal.
Tendo notices. He's like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, Ranma, insult my daughter again. And then Ranma's like, okay. And then he keeps doing the classic insults we've heard during the entire series of her not being cute. She's a plain Jane. No one would want to go out with her. And then Tendo was like, yes, let the hate flow through you.
Fucking Palpatine.
As he's insulting his daughter, Akane remembers Ranma and then slaps shit out. Shampoo then busts in, and she sees that Akane remembers Ranma. So now she was like, I tried to erase your memories, but since that didn't work, I have to kill you. And then Ranma steps in and tells her to stop. Then Ranma goes to show her the truth that Ranma is also girl Ranma. He says that boy Ranma is just his cover, and his girl Ranma.
It's the real one. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm really a girl, but the boy thing was just a cover up.
Yeah. And then Tendo and Genma are just like, I had no idea, no clue at all. They're trying to be the wingmen here, and they're just like, yeah, don't worry, Ranma, I got you. But then Shampoo goes to beat up Ranma. Ranma braces for impact, and then she stops short, and everyone's confused. And then Shampoo looks up, and she's crying. And then she turns and leaves the dojo with one word in Chinese, farewell.
Is it Biala?
I'm going to say yes.
That's all I got.
I'm going to roll with that.
Bila.
And that's what she says.
Yeah.
After she walks off, everyone is kind of sitting there and they're like, damn, like, Ranma, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, whatever you just did, pretty fucked up, bro.
Shampoo is distraught now. She's very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Ryoga and Ranma are sitting on the roof, and Ryoga tells him it's not too late to go after Shampoo. And as Ranma is sitting there, he thinks back to Shampoo crying and thinks that it might be a waste to just let her go like that.
Yeah. I mean, all right.
And then that's the finale. That's kind of how it ends. I'm kind of torn because I like the Ranma Akane chemistry that's going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do feel for Shampoo.
She's basically the girl version of Ranma, cursed by tradition instead of cursed by, water.
Yeah.
And she's just like, these are the rules that I grew up by, and I come to Japan, and all these people are acting crazy. I was just trying to fix, the shit that happened to me in China. I just showed up. I'm trying to help people also working at this clinic. And
it's crazy because that's how Shampoo's world works. She was apparently a Chinese Amazon-ess for her entire life, living in the forests of China, living by the rules of the Chinese Amazon Sutra.
I don't think you need to say Amazoness, because Amazon is already a female, right? And then S would imply like mistress, is like a female.
The Amazonias.
The Amazonianness.
Yeah. So it's basically her world got turned upside down. She was just living by the rules that she understood.
Yeah.
And then Ranma kind of just flipped it upside down. And you know, she obviously is hurt because she thought that she actually found the one that she was supposed to be with.
Yeah.
So I feel for her. And I think in the show, they do a really good job of conveying that. I think the rest of the characters feel similar.
They did a good job of humanizing her. It's a comic relief situation. It's, you get a little tearjerker at the end there. I don't remember how it went in the original. Do you remember the scene in the original?
I don't think I got this far. So for me, I remember Shampoo as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because this adaptation is going way faster, I don't think I made it to this part where there was the Shampoo Ranma heartbreak. So I don't recall exactly how this plays out. Probably in normal Ranma form, when season 2 starts, it's just going to be some goofy shit. Everything will turn back to normal. But yeah, I mean, at the end, it kind of highlights Ranma's inability to communicate because he can't communicate with Akane. He can't communicate with Shampoo. And a lot of this heartache on both sides could have easily been bypassed if there was just a good sit-down conversation between everybody. But that's the charm of the show, where Ranma to me is that the young boy that can't communicate, you can only communicate by fighting more or less. And then in that instance of fighting, more damage is done than good.
Yeah. I think all in all, this season, it's been nice to have a blast from the past and enjoy the almost old style of animation and the like an era that we just don't have that style as much
Mm-mm.
anymore. But it's maybe something because I don't watch those types of shows as much. We have a show like Inuyasha. I wasn't a big fan of it when I was a kid. Like when it was on, it was cheesy and boring to me
Mhm.
because I was like, oh man, Dragon Ball and Cowboy Bebop and Trigun. Like I want to see some fights and also Full Metal Alchemist. And Inuyasha was more of supposed to be like that slice of life humor. They really didn't have that many fights, and also they were kind of not great in the first place. I imagine if they remade Inuyasha today and they moved it along a little bit faster, it might be enjoyable for me like this.
Yes,
Did you agree with that kind of like Inuyasha analogy?
I do. Yeah, like that style where it's like almost an action rom-com where the guy, obviously the girl likes him. In
Mhm.
Inuyasha, to me, it was the same way. Like it's very obvious that Kagome and Inuyasha have like some sort of chemistry going on, but they go through
Mhm.
this giant journey of basically, I don't like you, you don't like me, I kind of like you, but then you don't notice that I like you. So now
Mhm.
I hate you, and then it flips where now the other one is like, well, now I kind of like you, but the other one is like, you didn't like me before, so now I don't like you. So just a series of
Mhm.
miscommunications. And for me, like those, I like they're not bad, but for me, those are like very hard to watch because in my mind, I'm just like, man, this is such an easy problem to fix.
Yeah.
It's like giving your mom a brand new iPhone and just being like, Mom, all you have to do is if you want to get out of the app, just swipe up. And
Yeah.
she's just like, what? I'm like, yeah, literally put your finger at the bottom of the screen and swipe up. And she's like, press the volume down button. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, please, no. It's literally swipe up. She's trying her hardest. You're trying your hardest. And there's just like a communication gap between, I guess, you explaining how the device works to your mom versus her understanding of what you're saying and the device. So watching these styles of miscommunication are very difficult. But
Mhm.
watching miscommunications like I parry everything, I think is like a little bit different because that's kind of more not necessarily relationship based communication. It's just generic, straight up miscommunication that goes into silliness and it's crazy. But for me to watch like relationship miscommunication is very hard.
I
But
think that's the thing though, is that with when you look at like a lot of these adolescents, and that's why these characters have to be that way almost,
yeah,
because it almost feels like as an adult, like your actions, you start to really gain like an understanding of how you affect the world around you
yeah,
and your ability to have an actual part in the discussion of what your actions do. And you start to, have accountability and understanding. And I think that that's why these characters are always that young and foolish. The adults in the situation are like telling the kids like, hey, you should do this, but also they're kind of dumb themselves, like the Tendos and the Mr. Tofu and that kind of aspect of it as well. I think it adds a little more humor to it that everybody's following that same trope. But it is true. As you get older, there's no other option other than to gain knowledge, right? You have to learn about the world around you.
yes. And that's why I say like it's not that I hate it. It's just tough for me. But that doesn't make me dislike Ranma. I actually like Ranma a lot. And I think I would take that slice of realism, knowing that these characters are as young as they are, where, they haven't experienced as much of the world as Genma or Tendo or the adults,
Mhm.
because they obviously see what's happening and they're like, Ranma, you're an idiot. I would take that over the animes with, middle school, high school kids that somehow have the knowledge and wisdom of 40-year-old adults. I think that bugs me more when the young characters like act like and understand the world like an adult when they're obviously not an adult.
My thing with that is that you can have like a mentally mature child, right? Due to trauma, advancing and being more serious is almost required. Like growing up as an individual in the world that went through trauma as a child, you have to grow up faster, right? You can write a character like that, but having like the almost like the Stephen Hawking character is almost insulting sometimes because you don't experience that ever as a kid. That is a 1 in a billion type of child. And so when you write a story like that where you have like almost the insanely clairvoyant and intelligent and like worldly
Yes.
child, you're just like that's bullshit, you know, like it's just not how the world works. And in general, you're correct. You that is not how the world works in I mean 100% of cases almost.
I know it's an anime, guys. I get it. It's fake.
Yeah,
It's not real.
yeah.
But you know, I mean, this may be the old man in me reflecting back on the ages of these characters in these shows. Like there is something to be said about wisdom that comes with time. And even though if you are like a very mature adolescent and you do experience and see more stuff than your peers, there's still something to be said about the knowledge gained over time that can only be gained over time. So to see characters like that are literally thinking like military adults and like having all of the knowledge and stuff when you're like 12 years old, unless you were like a Rudius gray rat that got reincarnated. If in that world you're just a regular 12-year-old kid or something like that and you already know how to do all of this stuff, to me that kind of breaks the realism. But
you saying you don't like Ender's Game? Did you not watch Ender or read Ender's Game
and these nuts?
Okay, and these nuts. Anyways,
yeah,
friend.
that shows my maturity. Yeah.
That was really good. So I think, you know, we both in agreement that Ranma was really fun, enjoyable. I think we've gotten that point across. Yeah. I wish they would bring back more shows from this era that could be redone in a healthier way, bringing them into the current generation. I think a lot of anime that is coming out is a lot healthier for the general sense, but then there's also the shows that you watch, those D-Gen shows, that I don't know if they're the best for the kids to watch, but they're still considered anime. I understand that there's different genres and stuff like that, but I do think that there has to be a separation. It's really hard to do that when they are both in the same style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same style, same genre. They're classified the exact same.
Right. When you have something like Ranma and also something like Immoral Guild that are both considered anime, but obviously they are different age ratings, they're wildly different storylines, and they're wildly different on what happens. It's almost like the difference between watching as a kid watching Looney Tunes and then if you watched some rendition of Looney Tunes / UFC. You know what I mean? It'd be like, that's not it's just how they exist in the same genre is really difficult to justify, like maturity of growing up in that genre, like understanding me as a kid looking at what eventually became adult style anime in general or any sort of ecchi or anything like that. That's the departure for me. Like I think that Ranma does such a great job of obviously avoiding that style of it and keeping it lighthearted.
I feel like Toonami and stuff did a good job of separating the, I guess, more fun shows to the adult shows the best that they could, that cable television would allow.
Right.
Where you had like the Toonami at night where they would play the more like serious animes, the serious shows, even though they're still in the same classification and genre as the morning afternoon shows. So yeah, I mean overall Ranma is good. And if I had to give it a rating, I would give it an 8. I thought that the animation was superb. I thought it was great. How I said it before in other episodes, I just think how they took the original show and stayed true to the animation, but just brought it to modern day standards. I thought the balance that they struck with that was incredible. I thought it was great. It had good character development. To me, you have the characters that come in originally almost seeming like villains, but then you add the aspects. Ryoga and Pichan is like the most obvious one. But then you have Shampoo, who is just assumed to be, a crazy wild woman Amazonianess, and she actually has deeper feelings and more emotions than just base Amazon instincts. So I thought character development's great. Story, I don't think it's like anything new, right? Like this kind of miscommunication relationship. I don't even want to say like love triangle, because I don't feel that Akane has any feelings for anyone else besides maybe like Dr. Tofu, but she kind of nipped that in the bud in the earlier episodes anyway. So, I don't want to say that there's some love triangle between like Akane, Ryoga, and Ranma or anything like that. But I just kind of think the story being good isn't exactly completely groundbreaking new out of this world. And then personally, I just felt like it was very enjoyable. It was very good because I had experience with the original and then comparing it to this, even though, yes, it moved a lot faster, I still really enjoyed it. So yeah, overall, the average of all of my scores equals an 8.
Damn. And I mean, let me explain. I think that comedy has a wonderful place in the world. Like, I am critiquing the show as we are here. We are discussing it. We are talking about the finer points of all of these shows that we watch and exchanging thoughts with you guys. That is the whole point of what we're doing here. But me, on my own scaling, I would give it a 7 personally, but I would give it a 7 in like what I would rate other comedy. And there are not many comedies that I've seen that I really like thoroughly enjoy. So maybe if I really like sat down and did the math like you did, I would give it a higher rating. Just off the top of my head, I would say like a 7. It feels like a 7. Would I seek it out on my own? If I didn't do this show, would I have watched Ranma half? Maybe. Potentially would have watched it with Girlfriend Bot. We had watched a few episodes together. But if I was just by myself, just hanging out, watching anime, probably not. I would probably have gone for something, continued Demon Slayer or My Hero. That's my genre. I like the strong protagonist, overcoming adversity, and like the more serious stuff, like almost like Mushoku Tensei or Jobless. Stuff like that. And so to me, if someone was looking for a comedy that was just like a fun loving comedy, I would 100% recommend Rom to somebody. There's no way I feel like it alienates people from entering the genre in a fun loving way. But it's not the first thing on my list that I would recommend to like someone that wants to watch an action show, which is generally what I watch anime for. So
I think that's kind of the point of this too, is to try new animes, try new things you probably wouldn't normally try. And, when you do that, you'll be pleasantly surprised sometimes, like you are with Ranma, and pleasantly disappointed like Failure Frame.
Pleasantly?
Yeah.
What a word.
Yeah. Well, I was pleasantly disappointed with Failure Frame.
I was just disappointed. It was just all around watching that and then reading it. It was all around a bad thing.
I mean, Bleach for me was me being disappointed.
That just disappointed my child.
Yeah, like Bleach, I'm disappointed. That gets a 3. Failure Frame, I was pleasantly disappointed, but it still also gets a 3.
I think you were pleasantly disappointed because of how much fun we made of it.
I think
like,
so. Yeah. Like it was so like if I just watched that in a vacuum, I'd probably
you'd have been like, that's dog shit. I'm over
I'd
it.
be less happy about it. But I think the fact that we got to have a conversation with our friends, Failure Frame made me pleasantly disappointed. To put it into perspective, Ranma, that I gave an 8, other animes that I put in the same 8-star category would be Jobless, as you said. You also mentioned this one, The Moral Guild. I actually gave that an 8 as well.
Yep.
Other ones that hit the 8 mark would be Solo Leveling, Kaiju, and 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. Ranma rates higher than Chain Soldier.
Wow.
But that doesn't mean, right, any of these other ones are bad. And it's just for what you're looking for and what you're feeling at the time.
Like I said, my scale's on average. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
my shit. What did I give Bleach? I gave it a 5, right?
Yeah, you gave it a 5 because it was just average. Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those like that was the thing. It's kind of there. It exists. So yeah, summing up, I'm really hopeful for season 2. It's just gonna be fun, and I'm really excited for it. Also, I wanted to tell you while I've got you here, Greg. Last night, some of the current mangaka, the guy who wrote Chainsaw Man, and the guy that has written Dandadan, recommended a specific manga that is in production right now. It has 37 chapters called Centuria. I read all of it last night before bed. It's literally like an hour-long thing. It is a completely different departure than Ranma, but it is like I find myself reading manga and really enjoying it lately. And that's so weird to me because I didn't as a kid. Like, I didn't want to read. Like, it was just like, let me just watch the show when it comes out. No, I'm like really excited about these storylines. And that was one that I'll recommend to everybody. Centuria is pretty cool. And I'm going to keep up to date on that.
Well, hopefully they make an anime adaptation.
100% they're going to make one. It's literally like the new Berserk.
I'm all on board for that. I would probably read it if I could read, but I can't.
Greg can't read.
Yeah.
That's why you had so much trouble with the Chinese translation.
Yeah, I was just
phonetic.
Yeah, I was just staring at characters and I just made stuff up.
Yeah, as you went. Anyways, friends, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. My turn for the moral of the story. The moral of the story today is when you are creating something, Greg taught me a very interesting thing pertaining to business about what your market is and what you're looking for. Understand your audience and understand the story you're trying to tell and the thing you're trying to produce for the audience. Like Ranma knows its audience. Chain Soldier knows its audience. Chainsaw Man knows its audience. You know what I mean? It's that type of, I know what I'm going for. I know the story I want to tell. And I'm going to continue to go in that direction. Don't let other people dull your shine and understand your market. That's what I got.
And Failure Frame.
They don't understand their market.
Well, maybe Failure Frame. I don't know about Bleach, but
I've read Failure Frame. That shit doesn't understand shit. Bleach, I don't understand why it has such trouble. I think what happened to Bleach is an issue of popularity. Bleach has become too popular for its own good to make hard decisions like killing characters and progressing the storyline. And the power scaling has gone way too out of whack because someone couldn't make limitations on powers that seemed really cool at the time. That's my opinion on that. Anyways, friends, go follow us on Spotify and check out the episodes. Hopefully you're listening to that here. YouTube Music. Where else can they find us, Greg?
Anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
The Anime Book Club podcast. Please go check it out. Friends, have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!